Next is n plus L rule, which says that if we take the sum of n and L, the lower the value of n and L together, lower is the energy of that orbital. However, if two different types of orbitals have same value of n plus L, then the orbital with lower value of n has lower energy. So kindly see, if it is 1s, then n plus L would give you 1 plus 0, that is 1, 2s would give you 2, 2p would give you 3, 3s would give you 3, 3p would give you 4, 3d would give you 5, 4s would give you 4, 4p would give you 5. So if you compare 3d and 4p, then 3d and 4p both have total n plus L value equal to 5. But 4p would have higher energy than 3d. This is what n plus L rule means. So this is how we can also determine how the value of orbitals and their energies can be known. Next we shall take up the Pauli exclusion principle, which says an orbital can have maximum 2 electrons and they must have opposite spins. So we have already taken up this thing. An orbital can have maximum only 2 electrons, one with plus half spin and the other with minus half spin. Next is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, which says electron pairing in p, d and f orbitals cannot occur until each orbital of a given subshell contains 1 electron each. So if you see 2p orbitals, then these 2p orbitals, 2px, 2py, 2pz, first should be given 1 electron each. Once they are given 1 electron each, then the pairing can take place. So total spin in this case is 1.5. However, if you would have paired up 2 in 1, then total spin would become half, because the 2 would cancel each other and 1 half is left for the single electron. And the third arrangement also gives you the total value equal to half. So please mind you, the second and third arrangement is completely forbidden, not allowed. So the degenerate orbitals means the orbitals which have same energy like 2px, 2py, 2pz, first should be given 1 electron each and then the pairing of electrons should take place. Next, I would let you know how the electronic configuration is taken up. So let's go through the electronic configurations to further enhance the point that how the configuration usually takes place and how the electrons are actually arranged. So hydrogen has 1s1, helium, one more electron gets added up in 1s2 for give you 1s2 configuration. In lithium, first it is 1s2 followed by 2s1, then 2s gets completed for beryllium. After 2s, according to Aufbau principle, it's the turn of 2p orbitals. Now we know there are 3 2p orbitals, 2px, 2py, 2pz. So first of all, we would give 1 electron to 2px. In carbon, the next electron would be given to 2py. In nitrogen, the next electron would be given to 2pz. In oxygen, the fourth electron is paired up, first in 2px, in fluorine in 2py, in neon in 2pz. So if you go through the neon configuration, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2, 2pz2. This is why neon is considered to be a noble gas with complete configuration. So this is the basic fundamental reason which is clear to you today. Yesterday we had asked a question to you, give the quantum numbers for the last electron of sodium atom. So for sodium atom, till neon the things are complete. Then the next orbital to be filled is 3s. So first electron would go to the 3s orbital. So similarly, the quantum numbers here would be n is equal to 3, L is equal to 0, M is equal to 0, because the last electron enters the 3s orbital. In magnesium, it has to be 3s2. In aluminium, it has to be 3s2, 3px1. In silicon, it would be 3px1, 3py1. In phosphorus, 1 electron each would be given to 3px, 3py and 3pz. So once again, for your reference, please go through all these configurations and understand why helium, then neon and argon would be considered the noble gases. To complete, we can go further with, say, sulfur. Sulfur has 3s2, 3px2, 3py1, 3pz1. So in chlorine, the next electron would go to 3py. In argon, all the 3p orbitals are complete, so it becomes a noble gas. In potassium, according to Aufbau principle, there should be no ambiguity here. The next orbital to be filled is 4s orbital. So 1 electron goes here. Then, just to simplify the matters, we write argon 18, 4s1, argon 18, 4s2. We need not write the complete configuration after the noble gas. Then for scandium, guys, which has atomic number 21, the 3d orbitals would start. For that, please go through Aufbau principle once again. Now we know that 3d orbitals are 5 in number. So please go through this nicely. Scandium 1 electron, titanium 2 electrons, vanadium 3 more electrons, in chromium 4 more electrons, and in manganese 5 electrons. Now I want to teach you anomalous configuration of chromium. Kindly go through this configuration, which is its theoretical configuration. It's 4s2 3d4, but actually 1 electron would jump from 4s orbital and would go to the 3d orbital. This is done to have a stable 3d electronic configuration. This way, the third shell would get exactly half filled for d orbitals, which is much more stable than this configuration. So practically, the configuration of chromium is 4s1 3d5. The jumping of this electron is known as excitation of electron. However, don't worry what would happen to 4s, because after 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f are still vacant. So in any case, fourth shell is not complete. So please go through these configurations and clear your doubts of how the configuration of atoms is actually done within the atom based on quantum numbers. So this is the real importance and significance of quantum numbers. Thanks for now.